There's a story every Bengals fan knows by heart. It starts with a flash of brilliance, a superstar quarterback, and the hope that this time will be different. But the story always ends the same way, not with a trophy, but with a limp, a trade request, or another career derailed. The Cincinnati Bengals don't just lose games, they lose quarterbacks. They have a history of taking golden arms and turning them into cautionary tales. It's the franchise's most tragic tradition. Today, we're examining the playbook for this pattern of destruction and asking why the Bengals can't seem to protect their most valuable assets. Before we continue, if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe to the channel. Now let's dive in. Let's rewind to where this all started. 1984. The Bengals select Boomer Esiason in the second round of the NFL Draft. Boomer becomes one of the best quarterbacks of his era, winning NFL MVP in 1988 and leading Cincinnati to Super Bowl 23, where they narrowly lose to Joe Montana's 49ers. By 1993, despite Boomer still playing at a high level, the Bengals trade him to the Jets for a third-round pick. He go on to play 7 more productive seasons, making another Pro Bowl and throwing for over 15,000 more yards. Fast forward to 2003. The Bengals select Carson Palmer with the first overall pick. Palmer develops into one of the league's elite quarterbacks, making 2 Pro Bowls and leading Cincinnati to their first division title in 15 years. In 2010, after another playoff appearance, Palmer demands a trade, citing the organization's lack of commitment to winning. Owner Mike Brown refuses. Palmer retires, and the standoff continues until midway through the 2011 season, when Palmer is finally traded to the Raiders for draft picks. Then comes Andy Dalton, selected in the second round of the 2011 draft. Dalton leads the Bengals to 5 consecutive playoff appearances from 2011 to 2015, a franchise record. He makes 3 Pro Bowls and sets numerous team passing records. But after a thumb injury ends his 2015 season, just as the Bengals appear poised for a deep playoff run, the organization gradually sours on him. By 2019, they bench him mid-season to evaluate rookie Ryan Finley. In 2020, they release him outright, 1 year before his contract expires. Which brings us to Joe Burrow. The first overall pick in the 2020 draft, Burrow quickly establishes himself as a franchise-altering talent. In 2021, just his second season, he leads the Bengals to Super Bowl 56, where they narrowly lose to the Rams. Bengals fans thought, finally, we've got our guy. The following year, they reach the AFC Championship game. Burrow signs a massive extension in 2023, seemingly securing the Bengals' future for the next decade. For the 2025 season, Joe Burrow, the franchise, is sidelined. A turf toe injury nasty enough to require surgery. The timeline? At least 3 months? For a quarterback who already had wrist issues before, this is another gut punch. It's a pattern so consistent, so predictable, that it can't be coincidence. The Bengals develop a quarterback, enjoy a period of success, and then, just when most franchises would be doubling down on their investment, they move on or don't protect their investment. Why? What drives this seemingly self-destructive behavior? I've identified 5 factors that explain the Bengals quarterback carousel and why it's unlikely to stop anytime soon. Factor number 1, the ownership philosophy. The Bengals are owned by the Brown family, with Mike Brown serving as the team's principal owner and de facto general manager since 1991. Brown inherited the team from his father, Paul Brown, the legendary coach and executive who founded the franchise. The Browns have always operated the Bengals differently than most NFL owners. Mike Brown is notoriously frugal. The Bengals have consistently ranked among the lowest spending teams in the NFL, both in terms of player salaries and organizational infrastructure. They were the last team to build a proper indoor practice facility. They have one of the smallest scouting departments in the league. They rarely make splashy free agent signings, preferring to build through the draft and develop their own players. This frugality extends to quarterback contracts. The Bengals have never been willing to reset the quarterback market or even match it. When Palmer demanded a trade, Part of his frustration was the team's unwillingness to invest in the roster around him. When Dalton was in his prime, the Bengals signed him to a team-friendly deal that was well below market value for a quarterback of his caliber. Burrow did sign a massive contract extension in 2023, which was new for the front office. But the front office did not commit much into the offensive line. Factor number 2, the market realities. Cincinnati is one of the NFL's smallest markets. The metropolitan area ranks 30th among the 32 NFL cities in population. The team's revenue, while substantial by normal business standards, is among the lowest in the league. This creates a different economic reality for the Bengals compared to teams in larger markets like New York, Los Angeles, or Dallas. The Bengals Stadium, Paycor Stadium, formerly Paul Brown Stadium, seats just over 65,000 fans, making it one of the smaller venues in the NFL. The team has struggled with attendance in non-competitive years, further limiting revenue. The local television market is similarly modest, providing less broadcast revenue than larger market teams receive. These market realities create a more constrained financial picture for the Bengals. While the NFL's revenue-sharing model ensures that all teams receive an equal share of national television contracts, local revenue still matters. Teams in larger markets can generate more money from sponsorships, luxury suites, and other local sources, giving them more financial flexibility. Factor number 3, the draft and develop model. The Bengals have always prioritized building through the draft rather than free agency. This approach has served them well in many respects. They've consistently found talent in the draft, particularly at skill positions, but it also creates a perpetual cycle of player development and departure. Under this model, the Bengals draft a quarterback, develop him into a star, enjoy a window of success while he's on his rookie contract, and then face a difficult decision when that contract expires. Rather than paying market rate to keep their developed talent, they often choose to start the cycle over with a new draft pick. This approach is not unique to the Bengals. Many teams try to maximize the value of rookie quarterback contracts. What is unique is the Bengals' willingness to let established stars walk rather than pay them. Most teams view the rookie contract window as a bonus period before the inevitable big extension. Yes, the Bengals did sign Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to massive contracts, but this is far from the norm. The draft and develop model also explains why the Bengals have been willing to trade quarterbacks like Palmer and Boomer. In both cases, they received draft capital in return, allowing them to continue the cycle. It's a coldly rational approach to roster management, prioritizing long-term sustainability over short-term success. Factor number 4, the playoff disappointments. For all their regular season success with various quarterbacks, the Bengals have consistently fallen short in the postseason. Boomer went 3-2 in the playoffs, losing a Super Bowl. Palmer went 0-2. Dalton went an abysmal 0-4, developing a reputation for shrinking in big moments. Even Burrow, for all his success, went 5-3 in the playoffs, losing a Super Bowl and an AFC championship game. These playoff disappointments have likely influenced the organization's willingness to move on from quarterbacks. If a quarterback can't get you over the hump and win a championship, the thinking goes, why commit massive resources to keep him? This is especially true for a franchise that has never won a Super Bowl and has experienced more than its share of heartbreak. The Bengals' playoff history is filled with near misses and what-ifs. Super Bowl 23, where they led the 49ers late before Montana engineered a legendary drive. The 2005 wildcard game against the Steelers, where Palmer was injured on his first pass attempt. The 2015 meltdown against the Steelers, where penalties by Vontaze Burfict and Adam Jones cost them a certain victory. Super Bowl 56, where they led in the fourth quarter before the Rams mounted a comeback. These painful losses create a psychological barrier, a belief that no matter how good the quarterback is, something will go wrong in the end. This fatalism may contribute to the organization's reluctance to fully commit to any quarterback, no matter how talented. Factor number 5, the coaching carousel. The Bengals have had relatively few head coaches compared to many NFL franchises, But the timing of coaching changes has often coincided with quarterback transitions. Sam Wyche was fired shortly after Boomer was traded. Marvin Lewis's tenure ended just as the team was moving on from Dalton. Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow are currently with the team, but who knows what will happen with them, or if Joe Burrow will demand a trade. These coaching changes create natural inflection points for quarterback decisions. New coaches often want their own quarterbacks, players they've selected and can develop according to their vision. When a coaching change coincides with a quarterback's contract situation, it becomes easier for the organization to justify moving on. The Bengals' approach to coaching hires has also influenced their quarterback decisions. They tend to hire offensive-minded coaches who specialize in quarterback development. These coaches often believe in their ability to develop quarterbacks, making them more willing to start fresh with a new prospect rather than work with an established veteran they didn't select. So what does all this mean for the Bengals moving forward? Are they doomed to repeat this cycle indefinitely, developing quarterbacks only to let them go just as they reach their prime? Or is there hope for a different approach? The current situation offers some reasons for optimism. The NFL's revenue continues to grow exponentially, creating more financial flexibility even for smaller market teams. The salary cap is projected to increase significantly in coming years, potentially making it easier for the Bengals to justify a market-rate quarterback contract and keep their players. The league's competitive landscape is also changing. The success of teams like the Chiefs, who have committed massive resources to Patrick Mahomes while still building a competitive roster around him, provides a blueprint for sustainable success with a highly paid quarterback. The Bengals may eventually recognize that the old model of cycling through quarterbacks is no longer viable in the modern NFL. There's also the matter of fan patience. Bengals fans have endured decades of heartbreak and frustration. The brief taste of success with Burrow, reaching a Super Bowl and coming tantalizingly close to winning it, has raised expectations. Burrow's season-ending injury could be a wake-up call for the front office to start investing more on the roster. The Brown family, traditionally immune to fan pressure, may finally be feeling the heat. But old habits die hard, and the Bengals' organizational DNA is deeply ingrained. Mike Brown, now in his late 80s, still maintains significant control over football operations. His daughter, Katie Blackburn, who serves as executive vice president, has shown signs of a more modern approach, but the family's fundamental philosophy remains intact. For Bengals fans, the quarterback carousel is a source of perpetual frustration. They've watched other franchises commit to their quarterbacks for the long haul. The Packers with Rodgers, the Chiefs with Mahomes, the Saints with Breeze, and enjoy sustained success as a result. They've seen the stability and continuity that comes from having the same face of the franchise for a decade or more. Instead, they've experienced a series of brief windows, moments of hope and excitement, followed by rebuilding and uncertainty. They've endured the cycle of draft, develop, succeed, and depart so many times that it's become a running joke among NFL fans. The irony is that the Bengals have actually been quite good at identifying and developing quarterback talent. Boomer was a second-round pick who became an MVP. Palmer was the first overall pick who lived up to the hype. Dalton was a second-rounder who outperformed many first-round picks from his draft class. Burrow was the first overall pick who transformed the franchise. The Bengals' problem isn't finding quarterbacks, it's keeping them, or keeping them healthy. In a league where quarterback stability is perhaps the most important factor in sustained success, the Bengals have chosen a different path. They've prioritized financial flexibility over continuity, draft capital over established stars, and the perpetual promise of tomorrow over the reality of today. It's an approach that has yielded occasional success, but never the ultimate prize. For a franchise that has never won a Super Bowl, that has come close so many times only to fall short, it's a particularly cruel fate. The quarterback is the most important position in sports, the player who can most directly influence a team's fortunes. The Bengals have had several who could have led them to the promised land, if only they had been willing to make the commitment. Instead, they keep throwing them away, starting over and hoping that this time, somehow, the outcome will be different. It's the definition of insanity, and for Bengals fans, it's a never-ending nightmare. What do you think? Are the Bengals right to prioritize financial flexibility over quarterback continuity? Or are they doomed to mediocrity until they change their approach? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.